Our dreams have officially come true. Yes, that was a pun fully intended. We can now decorate islands with other players and our friends thanks to the introduction of Slumber Islands. Over the past few days, I've spent a lot of time enjoying this new 3.0 feature, and today I'm going to share with you my top tips for getting the most out of this brand new way to play and kind of go over everything you need to know. Don't forget to like and also subscribe for more Animal Crossing content, but let's get into this. First off, I'll start with a quick recap as to what Slumber Islands actually are. These are essentially a way that you can create dream islands, either solo or with your friends. The main gameplay focus of the Slumber Islands is decorating, so if you are a decorator, you are gonna love this. The way that you access the Slumber Islands is via Luna, and because of this, you obviously first need to have Luna unlocked and have interacted with her at least once. Secondly, you will need a Nintendo Switch Online membership with an internet connection. If you have those requirements, you can go ahead, lie down in a bed in your home, and you should have the options "It's slumber time." Yes, I like that phrase, it's very cute. Have I pressed the other options a few times? Yes, I have, and that is a little bit annoying, but you do get used to it after a while. You will also access your friend's island through Luna here, and Luna will give you the option to search for a friend's island or either enter a doze code. The doze code is currently the only way to show off your island, and your friends will actually have to physically come to your island to visit and run around. There is no dream address facility. I'm going to say at the moment because we don't know what will happen in the future. Do I think it's likely that they will add it? Probably not. Once you have gone through all the dialogue with Luna, you will then be transported into the dream world, and you will notice that the clouds here are a different color to the dream addresses, so you know that you're in the right one. Here you can access your islands, and you can make up to 3 different ones, which is pretty good. I'm guessing, I haven't got to that point yet, but I'm guessing you'll be able to kind of delete the islands and then start a new one if you want to. There are 3 island size options. You can have small, medium, and large. To give you an idea of their sizes, the small island is the size of an island that you visit with your Nook Mile tickets, and the large one is the same size as your home island. So bear that in mind if you're not wanting a big project. It can be a little bit daunting when you have it all there, all flat in front of you. It is important to note that, like when you restart your home island, you'll be given 4 map options to pick from. However, you cannot reset these or re-roll these like you would do with normal island resets. I tried it and it didn't work, sadly. As soon as you arrive into the Slumber Islands, you'll be greeted with this dock area, and here is where yours and your friends' beds will fill up. Here you will also find Luna, who will allow you to invite others, rename your island. Yes, you can rename your island, which is wild. And she also has the options to give you some hints and tips as well if you have a few questions. When you want to invite others, you can create the doze code here, which is essentially a dodo code for the Slumber Island, and you will have the option to share it with your friends or everyone. I found that this was the easiest way to get people to your island, and it's kind of the best way to do it if you want to invite lots of friends. Normal multiplayer is for up to 8 friends, but if all players have the Switch 2, then you can actually have 12 players visiting. The traveling of friends into the Slumber Islands is so much quicker than via the airport, and you'll be able to see who is present on your island if you go back and talk to Luna, as there isn't actually a clear notification of who is coming, just rather that someone is. I do wish it would give us like a little name tag or something somewhere, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm just so grateful that it is a lot quicker. Lloyd is also here, and he is here for all of your bridge and house needs. The host is the only person that can interact with him to build bridges and inclines, so if you're playing with friends, they will have to request for you to build one for them. Also, you can move your house and renovate the exterior here. Of course, this is all free of charge. If you want to build a bridge or move your house, he will give you a little kit which you can then go ahead and place down. Thankfully, the building of this is instant, so it's really speedy and doesn't take too much time at all. There is no need to wait until the following day. If you want to cause a little bit of chaos on your island, he can also give you gold nuggets and pitfall seeds to bury if you want to bully your friends. I have fallen victim to this already. On the left-hand side of the dock, there is also a wardrobe and a vanity area in case you want to temporarily change your appearance whilst on the Slumber Island. You will revert back to your previous look when you do head home to your main island. So that's the main dock area. You will notice that the actual screen and UI is a little bit different as well. On the left hand side of the screen, you will notice that you can change the weather and the time. For the Slumber Island itself, the season will mimic whatever date you are currently set on your main island. So this means things such as weed and the grass will all look like normal, like it was on your main island. So remember that if you are decorating and you're after a specific time of year on your island, maybe a cherry blossom season or autumn, then you will need to time travel to that specific date to notice a change on your Slumber Island. I'm a little bit disappointed by this, but I guess it is what it is. I'm really grateful that we had the Slumber Islands at all, so I'm not going to be too picky about this. On the left hand side, you can also see that there is the option to open up your inventory from here using the right arrow. The items available to you here will be pulled from items that you have catalogued on your main island. If you are playing with friends, they can also drop items on the island for you to use whilst you're playing together. However, any items that you pick up on this island will not carry over to their main island catalogue. So if you drop some of the new items, unfortunately, you won't be able to then go home and order them, which is a bit of a shame. It took me a little bit of time to get my head around cataloguing items only on the Slumber Islands, and it can be a little bit tricky to understand if you play during multiple play sessions. If you catalogue an item from a friend during one play session, it will appear in your inventory during that time, and you will be free to use it however much you like. However, if you then leave and come back to the Slumber Island again and that item has not been placed on the Slumber Island, it will then not be available for you to decorate in that second play session. So the best way to beat this is to try and place down the items you know that you are going to want to use in future play sessions. Honestly, we didn't find this too much of a problem. We had some friends that came over and didn't have many items, so it is quite quick to kind of drop things and then they can pick it up, or if you've already decorated an area, they can quickly grab items and then pop it back down. So although it takes a bit of time to get your head around it, it's not too cumbersome, thankfully. On the right hand side in the top corner, you will see that there are 3 kind of icons, and these are more control options. If you are on the handbag item, you will be able to access your normal inventory with your tools. Thankfully, you're given a nice kind of range of tools, and also you get your things such as your vaulting pole, your ladder, which you will need for getting around. You can also bug and catch fish on your Slumber Islands if you want to. Obviously, you're not going to be able to take them home with you. If you press the plus button once more, you will then be given the fence options. To change your fence, press X again, and then you will display with the little inventory here. Again, only fences that you've crafted or you've had on your main island inventory will appear here. So if you do need some more fencing options before you head out on your Slumber Island, be sure to craft them first. Then if you press the plus button one more time, you will be put into the terraforming mode, and again, to see all of your options, you will just need to press X, and then you can go ahead and terraform as you normally would. You will need to have unlocked things such as the cliff building, the water terraforming, and obviously your path via the normal method of purchasing with Nook Miles on your main island to be able to use them here. So if you don't have them unlocked, again, be sure to visit that ABD machine before heading out. You are also able to use the new speedier terraforming technique, which we have dubbed the Cha-Cha slide. If you don't know how this works, then all you need to do is hold down the left button on the back of your left Joy-Con. This will allow you to repeatedly move whilst doing that action, and you can do it back and forth, side to side, whatever direction you need to go in. This tool is available for both terraforming and also placing down custom designs. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if it was that much quicker, but now I'm absolutely in love with this, and I do think that there is quite a bit of a difference. when you start exploring around the Slumber Island, you will notice that the player home is present. Unfortunately, you cannot add any other buildings or villager homes. I did find myself missing the other buildings. However, on the flip side to that, it does cause you to be a little bit more creative and you have more space to play with. To make your Slumber Island feel a little bit more alive, you can invite some villagers. On multiplayer, you can add up to 5, but if you're playing solo, you can invite 10 to roam around on your island. When selecting which villagers to add in, you'll be able to see which villagers are currently living on your island or the ones that have previously lived there. If you are playing in multiplayer and the player has dropped a villager, then leaves your Slumber Island, the villager will disappear with them too. It's kind of only for that particular session. For example, we had Hippo locked in a jail cell, but when I returned to tour the Slumber Island, he was gone. And finally, sadly, you cannot interact with the villagers, so don't expect any dialogue. They just kind of do a little emote when you kind of try and talk to them, which is fine. It doesn't bother me too much. If I do want to speak to my villagers, I'll just go back to my main island. But let's face it, I don't talk to my villagers all that much. So before we get into the actual decorating, you're probably going to want some custom design codes before you start. When in a Slumber Island, you will not be able to download new codes from the custom design portal. However, there is a workaround, as you can save custom design codes from your existing island and then transfer them over to be used on the Slumber Island. All you have to do is go into your Nook phone, go to the normal custom design app, and then you will notice that the default designs and the background is different. This is because it is mimicking your Slumber Island. From here, you can then press the X button to bring over the designs from your main island. You can then freely choose which designs you want to move over. When you are moving over the designs from your main island, do not worry that they will still stay in your custom design portal on your main island. It's just kind of creating a copy. You may have to click select on them and then move it over, and it might ask if you want to delete. That's normal, don't panic. It is really important to note though, if you do this and then delete the codes on your main island, your Slumber Island codes will remain unaffected as they have actually been saved there. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and download a whole new range of Slumber Island codes on your main island, and then you can overwrite them or revert them back to the original ones that you had thereafter, which is good. I know it's not ideal when it comes to custom designs, but it is a nice workaround. It just might take a little bit more time to get the codes you're after. Thankfully though, if you do have friends come over, they can also drop off codes that they have. I do have a word of warning about this, so be really careful who you're bringing over to your island. Make sure you trust them, as they could potentially save over all the codes that you have there, as there is no way for you kind of as the host to lock them or prevent it happening. So do be mindful of that, but it's really helpful that your friends can bring them over and you get a nice array of codes as well. Likewise, if you have a second Switch that has a Nintendo Switch Online account, you can also bring them over and move codes that way, which I have also done. Although this way of doing it is not necessarily ideal, as I say, and I would love more custom designs, it does give you a little bit of flexibility with your decorating and all of the designs you want to save. So now it's time to get to the decorating and terraforming. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say here. This can be pretty much done as you normally would on your main island. You can also decorate the inside of your home. However, when your friends come over, you cannot access the interior decorating mode, which is kind of the bird's eye view. I have also encountered some occasions where it would not let me pick an item as someone was nearby. It was a rug, and now I think about it now, the person was actually standing on it, so it is likely that that was the issue. However, aside from that, I've tested it since and it was all working fine and pretty smooth. If you are worried about saving your decorating progress, you don't have to be, as it does automatically save when you are playing. Also, when people kind of leave the island, it will save as well. You will notice that there is a little loading icon in the top right hand corner, so you know not to kind of touch your power button or do anything crazy while that is going on. Also, if the island does crash whilst you're on it, the player sometimes leaves quietly, or it may kick everyone, but the host will remain on the island and they will just have to reconnect to the internet. If this does happen, a new dose code will be required, so you'll have to go back and speak to Luna. I spent a long time on Slumber Islands and we encountered maybe 2 or 3 crashes, which honestly I didn't think was too bad. And there was a tiny little bit of lag sometimes when people were like moving in and out of houses, but apart from that, it was all super smooth. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about the Slumber Island. Here are just a few more tips and tricks that I would have liked to have known going into Slumber Islands for the first time. Firstly, you can use vines on your island's cliff. However, if you come across the standard vines in your catalogue, these probably aren't the ones that can be placed if you aren't getting the options. The ones that you want to use on your cliffs will be found in the flower section, and then you can go ahead and pop them down. Also, the ladder kits also work as well, so if you want to go ahead and use them on your cliffs, you can. You will also be dealing with potentially a lot of items in your storage, and sadly, no, they haven't added a searchable function into your storage, so the recent tab for furniture was actually a lifesaver. I know that this exists in Happy Home Paradise, so what happens is whenever you are placing down furniture, it will then be moved into here. This is really good if you're placing down lots of the same kind of furniture repeatedly, so you can just go back to the tab and grab it. It was really helpful. Unfortunately, it does have a cap, so once after a while you will notice that it kind of stops giving you new items in there. You can also just run around, pick up trees, bushes, whatever. You don't have to chop them down or dig them up. You can also get them at different growth stages by pressing the X button and then selecting your desired type. This also goes for flowers and bushes, so if you just want green bushes, you can get them that way. If you want your tree stumps, you can still chop them down with the axe that's provided in your inventory, so that's really handy. Players can also freely place the rocks in the game if you want to. You can have more than the normal amount of 6, which is great if you're going to want to build like a rock garden or something like that, because that is a lot of hassle to do on your main island. I haven't also tested it, but I do believe that the inclines and the bridges are going to max out at 10. I was told this by a friend. Let me know if you have tested that so far. If you are playing with friends and others and you do want to put down a bridge or an incline, I have found that it's easier if they mark out the area with an in-game path, so it's easy for the host to see where it should be placed. It's just like a nice little hack that you can do, and it's really helpful rather than them having to go through and kind of editing things because it wasn't quite in the wrong place. So there we have it. There is everything you need to know about Slumber Islands, your complete guide, some tips and tricks. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments and I will try and answer them for you. But honestly, it's not perfect, but I have thoroughly enjoyed the Slumber Islands and I cannot believe we can multiplayer decorate after all these years. It's a lot of fun. Have a great rest of your day and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.